Well, well, well. And to think I always assumed you'd never think of this place as a home to you. You wander the halls now as if you've always lived your life here. Imagine that. No? To think you were ever a shepherd. To think you ever considered yourself among the street. You're walking with wolves now. Now, what has captured such a profound interest in your little heart that I found you once, twice, thrice, and thrice again this week in the same hall, in front of the very same wall? Ah, the mural. You found yourself in front of the mural once more. My father had it painted about 13 years ago. I was but a child. I don't remember it because I necessarily recall the incident in anything close to a meaningful capacity. I only remember it because of what it cemented in my mind. It's a lovely piece. Really. I can appreciate the gentle brushstrokes now at the twilight of my young life, because I can walk these halls as if I own every piece of tile and every piece of mortar I step upon so carelessly. Because I do. But it was hard. It was hard to get to the point I am now where this peace only brings up feelings of apathy instead of pure and vitriolic hatred. Oh, little lamb, little lamb of mine, care to hear me spin a yarn? I was 8 years old. Still despised, but not to the extent that I am now. Or would be, anyhow. I'm surprised that more like me aren't. I was only born out of obligation, and being born a girl didn't exactly suit me favorably, but nonetheless, we lived peacefully throughout that time. The year where the honeysuckle grew rich and sweet. My father decided that year to commission a mural from an artist renowned within the four. Gave him just a week to paint it, but enough golden galleons that the painter would have been a fool to not at least try. And the painter did. And the painter did indeed complete it in that very week. I think there must have been at least one day in that week where I stumbled over where the artist laid on the ground, unable to go home and still hoped to complete his work on time, but too tired to paint. I think even then I had the capacity to consider him pitiable. In some manner. In some way. It was a strange feeling. I still don't know what it might have meant, but there's not exactly a benefit that comes from this kind of emotional cosmology so many years after the event had occurred. Still, it really is a beautiful mural. Isn't it? The swans look as delicate and graceful as the real things, and I swear that I've seen those very same fruit trees sway so temptingly in the breeze 100 times before I even got to see this work completed. Of course, my father was so impressed that he asked for more work to be done. A portrait for the east wing, a landscape for the west wing, a mural for the hall. The thing is, I don't know if it came from genuine, sincere admiration, or if it was just another way for my father to preen in front of the other nations, to prove himself as a truly opulent partaker of the arts, a sophisticated member of society, something of that ilk. I do think it might have just been a dick measuring contest, if only because every time the painter tried to leave, more riches were tossed his way. I saw it happen myself. It was kind of haunting. I was almost convinced a spell came over him with the way that he begged and pleaded on his hands and knees for him to stay. But it might have just been his way to keep what he thought of was now his in his pocket. It's not like I'll be able to ask him what he really meant anyways, so I guess I can really just say anything I want of the man at this time. Nonetheless, the castle was filled from floor to ceiling the most wonderful and fantastic of art pieces, painted by the best artist in all the four. Sometimes the painter would let me paint alongside him. I think I liked it. It's hard to say. I can only guess that, as a shepherd, you live pretty far out on the countryside, so it doesn't surprise me that you don't seem aware of what comes next, but that was the same season the lung rot hit. It sweeps in on a gentle, pastoral, warm breeze, and the next thing you know, it punctures your lungs full of holes until they're nothing but bags of blood and dust. It's wretched. Simply and completely wretched. It swallows you from the inside out. It separates your ghost from your soul, and then it pulls you down with it. It was only last week that I found the letters stuffed in my father's desk drawers. It's been a decade and a half since the season, but he kept them. He kept the letters. You know what the letters are? Requests, demands, begging, pleading, waffling, praying, asking for my father to do something, to send aid, to send supplies, to send money, to do anything at all, to say something, anything at all. And you know what he did? You know what he did? He paid the painter another bag to paint the ceiling in the dining hall. I know that can't be all of them. All of the letters. But I found all of them I could. I don't think he even opened a single one. I can only wonder where that artist is now. Probably a bit long in the tooth if he survived the lung rot and whatever swarms came from now that he was shackled with silver and gold bracelets. I suppose it doesn't matter now. I'm a bit too old for an apprenticeship as well. Just remember what kind of halls you now wander, young shepherd. I might have the bloodiest hands in my remaining family line, but every tile of this castle was built off the back of a corpse that never needed to die. And you could just as easily join them. I mean it as a compliment when I say that your blood might be the most vibrant color of them all.